Okay, thanks everyone for joining us here. Let's talk about user experience in Appian. My name is Rachel Rader. I'm a product manager at Appian. This is Charles Tsui. He's our director of user experience.
Thank you, Rachel. So April has been super busy for us. We've been finishing up the latest release, 18.2, which you've heard about today, and also getting ready to welcome all of you to Appian World. For many Americans, April is also notable for being the tax due date, the month when we have to file our tax returns, right? So how many of you remember doing your taxes by paper and pen?
And a column on your way.
Ah, quite a few of you. We're older than we look, so we remember it too. Thanks to one of the best known examples of digital transformation, these days most of us don't have to worry about that, right? We just file our taxes electronically. But of course, digital transformation doesn't just mean paperless. We're not all just taking a PDF version of a 1040 and just typing in our responses instead of writing out by pen, right? If you look at the popular tools that most people are using, these tax preparation software applications, they really help people to navigate the complexity of tax regulations. They ask you simple questions, they perform calculations for you automatically, they skip over parts that aren't relevant to you. So in the end, even though it spits out the same tax forms, the experience is totally different and it's superior to you having pen and calculator and figuring out yourself. That brings us to the topic of today. First, a question. Any UX professionals out here? UX designers? No one? Okay. Any of you work with a dedicated UX team or a designer? Okay, a few. All right. Perfectly relevant then. The point we want to make today is that even though UX designers, most of them are going to be practicing and familiar with user-centered design, ultimately, the basics are really easy for all of us to understand and start practicing. Fundamentally, it's just about knowing your user and thinking about them. So when you're setting out to build an app, you should know who's going to be using this. Are they coming in with a lot of knowledge or experience? Are they brand new? What are they trying to do? Like, what's the work that they're trying to complete using the app? And when they're doing that, what's going to make them successful? What do they care the most about? Do they want it to be really easy to learn because they're just going to walk up and do it once? Or do they care most about efficiency because they're doing this work day in and day out? Do they care about reducing mistakes? You want to know what their top priorities are. Ultimately, user-centered design means that you are trying to make sure that you're building something to actually make them successful. If you look back to the tax example that I started with and you think about the leading software tools, the reason why they're so popular is that they didn't, again, just convert the paper forms. They got to know their users, they understand their fears and frustrations, they know that taxes are just something that you just have to deal with, and they made it as much as possible an easy and enjoyable experience even, and that's why they're so popular with consumers. If we break down what could be a complicated process to the basics, user-centered design is just about these fundamental steps. You do the research to understand how your users can be successful, and then you try your best to design to reach those goals. And the most important part is that you test. You put your initial designs in front of your users, the same people that you've identified, and try to understand how they want to be successful. And you make sure that they tell you whether you've made the right choices. And the constant iteration is what you have to go in there expecting. Instead of thinking that you know up front, this is exactly what I'm going to build, and then I'm going to finish it, ship it, and then everyone's going to be happy using it. No, start early, start with the basic design, put it in front of your users. They are the ones who know best what job they're trying to do, and they're the ones who can give you the feedback to tell you whether or not you've created something that can actually help them. So when you're measuring success, as you will for any application that you're trying to build, it's not enough to just check the box and say, okay, I've digitally transformed my process because I've moved it from my old paper-based system to a new system, I'm done. If you're successfully practicing user-centered design, then you can measure your success through your users. For example, you may find that your conversion rates go up or your employee efficiency goes up. Ultimately, what you should see is that your users are telling you, I really enjoy using this new system. It's better than what I was using before. And that's because you had them in mind when you were designing.
Let's see how this user-centered design transforms or translates into Appian. For all you designers out there, this form may look familiar. You may have even built this form sometime in the last couple of years. This is an example of an interface that you could create with Appian. It's perfectly serviceable, it'll get the job done, and but there were so many limitations in how you could lay out the form, even if you took the time to understand what really mattered to your users, the product was too inflexible to help create the experience you're really going for. We've changed that, and today we're going to tell 4 stories about users. We're going to look at what they're trying to do, we're going to learn what matters to them, and we're going to see how Appian can be used to give them a good experience. All right, so on to the first story. Let's meet Michael. Michael is a mortgage banker. He works for a large national financial firm. He's the person who helps you apply for a mortgage loan. Now, Michael's clients are often doing something that's very intimidating and making a very large financial decision. What he wants is to make sure that his clients are comfortable going through this scary process. He wants them to be happy with the outcome. And it's easier for him and for his clients if the loan application process is broken down into smaller step-by-step increments so you can focus on one thing at a time. Let's take a look at what Michael's solution could look like in Appian. But first, let's look at what he doesn't want. Here's an example of a really intimidating form. It's really dense, there's a lot to fill out. It's not even done scrolling, I don't know when it ends. Michael doesn't want this. If he shows this to his customers, they're going to leave and not get a house. However, if Michael has something like this, when he sits down with his clients to fill out their loan application, they can focus on one topic at a time. And the interface is laid out to help facilitate this easy experience. We're using Appian column widths to help arrange the form in a way that supports this experience. On the left, we have a column that shows each step in the process, highlighting the one that you're on, showing them all so you know how many you have to do, but not dumping every piece of information on you at once. In the main pane in the wide column, here are the details about that particular step. You can focus on providing the client's information before you move on to the next step. We drill in a little bit to the details of collecting the client information. You can see the side-by-side layout in Appian 18.1 at work. The side-by-side layout lets you precisely control where one field appears next to another. We're showing the city, state, and zip code inputs in this form, and it makes sense to group those fields together because they're all about the same thing, but we know that state and zip code are smaller values, so it doesn't make sense to give them a ton of space. You know the value is always going to be pretty small. The side-by-side layout lets you control the width of each item so you can put them all in the same line, but in a way that makes sense to your users.
Next, let's meet the Alvarez family. They are happy new homeowners. They're about to close on their first house. So before they move in, they need to secure their homeowner's insurance, very common thing. What they want to do is just quickly get a quote and do so without having to talk to an agent. So the tool that they need is something that's self-service, very simple. This is something that they're going to do, once every 10 years, right? It's not something they need to use every day. So here we see them logging into their insurance company portal, and they are just guided step by step, one simple question at a time, and they end up on a quote page that just shows them their available options, and then from there they can purchase the policy. Something a very common consumer-oriented sort of screen that you might expect, but now you can build it in Appian. Let's take a closer look at how we built this. by using billboard layout, which gives us the background, and then some of our new rich text icon and color capabilities, we're able to create this welcoming landing page that reflects the branding of the insurance company. When we go into each of the steps, we see the card layout that you heard about earlier today at play. And with cards, you have a new way of laying out your screens, but you can also make each of them clickable, which means that that's another way to allow your users to select from a set of options. So you have radio buttons, drop downs, and so forth, but now you can also have cards, something simple, visually rich, explains each of your choices to them, and then just a big click target for them to pick from the list. And again, as you'll see with our other examples today, we're using the columns width control just to lay out the whole page. Here, we don't want to show a whole bunch of stuff on the screen, so regardless of how wide your browser window is, we're just going to arrange the cards in the middle of the screen using our columns layout.
Next, let's meet Maria. Maria is an executive for a cruise line. What Maria is looking for is a lot of data across her organizations. She wants a dense dashboard, can't be too dense, can't have too much data in it, but also something that's easy to consume. Here's an example of a dashboard that could help Maria out. It shows the details of one of the routes in her cruise line. We're using a billboard at the top of this dashboard to highlight some key metrics according to the cruise company's internal benchmarks. Many of you are familiar with our rich text capabilities. In 18.2, we've made some enhancements. You can now configure the text to be any color you want, and we've also changed the design experience so that you can separately control the size and color and style. It makes it much faster to create KPIs like this. This interface is also taking advantage of the web content field that was previewed in 18.1 and is now available in 18.2. This is a component that lets you embed external content inside an Appian interface. Here we're showing an example of a map, but it can be any other widget or website that supports being embedded. This dashboard also shows an example of an in-place drill down. Here we're showing a chart that when you click on it, drills to more details about that value in the chart. This is going to help Maria stay on one page when she wants to find out more about her cruise route. She doesn't have to navigate away. She can just stay all on one screen.
Our last story is about Stephanie. Stephanie is a college student, and she is trying to sign up for classes for her next semester. So the most popular classes fill up quickly, so she wants to be able to just easily make up her mind and choose which classes to enroll in. So what she needs is something that just lets her figure out what she wants to sign up for, shows her details about the classes, how many credits each one is, and so forth. So let's take a look. So here, Stephanie has searched for French classes, and on the left column, you've got a list of matching classes coming back. When she picks one, the details are shown in the middle column. There's rich information about each of the class offerings. And then when she decides that she wants to pick one, she clicks a button and it essentially adds it to her cart of classes on the right. And when she's done mixing and matching credits, then she can proceed to the next step to enroll in the classes. So even though that was specifically a university example, it's a representation of a very common master detail pattern. I think most apps that I see built on Appian have some variation of that. And up until now, the default way to implement master detail has been generally either you use checkboxes to select items from a grid or you use a link to drill into details. Problem with that is that it's not great for usability. With checkboxes, you're expecting to pick multiple things and take action on them, not to see details of one at a time, right? And with links, you can't really tell which one you've picked. You click on it and then something happens and you don't know what row you're looking at. So the feature at play here is grid row selection. So now you can easily click anywhere on the row on the grid, and then when you're viewing details of an item, the whole row is highlighted. It's very obvious what you're looking at. It's like many other master detail interfaces, like your email client and so forth. So that's the great new way of doing master detail.
So we've just seen 4 stories about users being helped by Appian to do their job successfully. We heard from Michael, who's helping people with mortgage loans, and we use column widths and side-by-side to help create that guided step-by-step experience. The Alvarez family was shopping for home insurance, so we showed a page of their insurance portal site where they could explore their options and have a guided process using the card layout to drill down and then see the options that were best for them. Maria wanted a dense dashboard. We used billboard, rich text, web content, and in-place chart drill down to create that density and something that's really visually engaging but also very informative. Finally, Stephanie wanted to browse and sign up for classes. So this classic master detail example was used with grid row selection to make it really clear what she was looking at before she signed up. So what's next? We've just gone through a lot of new features that are coming in 18.1 and 18.2. Some of you may already have the 18.1 features. If you want to see more, go visit the Appian product booth to see these screens and others and learn more about those new the new capabilities. The Appian product booth.
Where is it? Yeah, where? Physically.
It is on a map somewhere. We'll find out.
I will find out for you.
Yeah, we just heard from somebody that he was getting booming business, so it's around here somewhere. Appian 18.2 is coming out in June. When it's out, download it, play with it, see the new features, and try implementing some of these patterns yourself. For more guidance on some of the actual design patterns we showed, like master detail and chart drill down, visit our UX guide in the Appian documentation. We have examples of how to implement these, when to choose the right one for your use case, and just different inspirational screenshots like the ones we've seen here to show you what's possible. And finally, the next time you're designing an interface or starting a project or even enhancing an existing one, try a user-centered design. Think about your users, think about their priorities, and build something that's going to work for them. But you don't get it right the first time. It's important to share it with them and iterate and incorporate feedback to wind up with something that's ultimately going to be successful.